So hopefully you'll all be able to, morning Priska, hopefully you'll all be able to see the screen now. We'll be able to proactively move forward. Today, what we're looking at is introduction to our CPD couple of days of 2021-22. But then also we want to make sure that we make it a little bit more engaging, and a couple of different sharing best practice and resources that we have seen over the last few weeks. Some you may have seen before and you may use, and you may be kind of prolific with it. Fantastic. You can help support other people. And if you've not heard of these, then they are quite good things that I've picked up on the way through different meetings and different training sessions. One of them being a Jamboard, which is directly linked to Google. Mentimeter, which we have identified in the past quite recently on the CPOMS training, which is another basic online tool which you can use as an interactive whiteboard. And then again, Teams, if you're not fully aware, especially as we've got some new staff coming in, and you all should have access to Teams now directly. So we obviously want to make a real effort with that and get everything out of it that we can. So outline for the day. You will have been sent through a couple of times the plan for what today and what tomorrow looks like. If there are any changes, which there always are, we are flexible with this kind of thing. Some people have other issues and can't attend, whether it be personal or professional. We will update you and let you know. If I could just ask you today just to log in and dial into each of the sessions. If there is a difference or an arrangement issue or a clash, then we'll update you all in one go on the dial-in. But again, if you've not seen the previous emails, I sent that through again about 10-15 minutes ago. Just a reminder that tomorrow's session is face-to-face. It's at the Bedford Centre. We want to be able to safely and carefully invite you all in to be able to see each other without my internet crashing, which would be good. But also we want to be able to do some more hands-on and more practical sessions, which we think are at the right time to do that. So for example, making sure you guys can bond together as a bit of a team, which is always the nice bit. Make sure that if you haven't got a first aid qualification, and if you have, that you get the chance to refresh a couple of key areas, especially off the back of what we are now rolling out and updated, which is our emergency health plan. So that will happen in the morning. And then you'll also have the privilege of getting Jenna McQuaid's insight into a few sessions as well. Okay. Where possible, guys, we have planned them to be as short and as snappy and direction towards other information if needed, off the back of your feedback. So we do read the feedback from the survey every single time. I do try and apply what I think is doable. So please feel free to keep giving us that honest and critical feedback. Engage with questions, like Lisa said. It'd be fantastic for myself, especially today, not just to hear my voice all day. I would quite like to hear you guys being involved. If you're a bit shy, or if for whatever reason you can't verbalize it, then drop it into the text box, into the chat room, and we'll pick those questions up as and when we go forward. And then again, just to reiterate, we will record each of the sessions where possible, in order for us just to pop them on to our quality YouTube channel and make sure we can reflect back on that. Any questions? Okay, so Jamboard. This is an interactive whiteboard through Google, which I've mentioned previously. All right, so what does it do? Well, it offers an interactive group work with one central document. It allows you to pre-plan. It allows you to have some structure to your session to make sure that you are going to use the virtual online learning session to break out into smaller groups, if you like, to do some group work. So you're not always identifying a single person in front of everyone for some feedback or answers or checking of learning, or you're not always opening it up to everybody as a free-for-all where people can social loaf or hide within that session. So it's a really good way to pre-plan what you're going to do on a virtual platform. Okay, so fingers crossed. Can you guys all see that? So the Jamboard, okay, what we want to do is just type that into the Google, make sure that or into a search engine, and then follow that guidance into the Jamboard. It will then take you to a Google platform, okay? What you need to do, really simple, is just click to the Get Started page. So what I thought I would do is I would demonstrate just what it is, first of all, with an example. Okay, so this was part of CPD session that I was involved with a couple of weeks ago. And the idea around it was that we had a heading page. Okay, and this page that you can see here is based on a kind of fictional safeguarding scenario. And we had 5 different areas that we needed to focus on once we got to our breakout rooms. So my breakout room was number 9. Okay, so the idea was that we would then have to click across to number 9, and we would have a blank page with 5 different subheadings. As part of that, a group, we were able to add post-it notes to that live session in order to contribute to what we wanted to attribute to our session. So we then went back out of our group into the larger group, and we fed back on what we had written through almost like a guest speaker. So it's one of these interactive A2 sheets of paper that you would write on in a group. You'd do a mind map, or you would ask people to contribute their answers to it. Okay. Any questions so far? No. Good. How do you share this? So once we have got this set up, and I'll direct you to how we do this in a minute, you would set it up and it would look like this. You would hit share. Okay. And here you're able to do 2 things. You're able to copy the link, okay, and send it directly to them. So in a lot of lessons, I would suggest that you just drop that into the chat box and people can then access it that way. All right. You're able to take that link and turn it into a QR code and then put that up onto your screen, or you can email somebody directly and share with groups of people through your Outlook box or through email addresses. Okay, any questions? No. So if I go backwards now, so underneath the different areas of the whiteboard, okay, you also have additional kind of parameters, additional resources that you can access for free. And then if you use this a lot, or you're wanting to engage it in different ways, there are additional things that you can actually purchase for. I've not found anything at the minute on here that I would think we need to purchase or you would want to purchase. Any questions? Nope. No, happy, thank you. So the Jamboard, and again, this is literally just leading you towards the examples of what it is and how you can use that. Okay, by setting up the different platforms, then have a nosy with that, have a play with that, lean on each other. And the best thing about this is, like a lot of these online things, is if I was to write one about engaging with an employer for the first time, okay, and I'd do something around that, and somebody else did one around how to prepare for your performance review at work, we could then swap those 2 things. So rather than me having to do 2 resources, through collaborative working as a team, you could each choose a topic and resource and pull them together. Second one I want to just quickly identify is Mentimeter. So this one is very similar, but it's got a couple of more interactive options, which I like. This collates answers and displays them in different ways. So you can start to use tally charts, graphs, live feedback, almost like a quiz format, checking of learning, so on and so forth. It creates these quizzes, and it also makes sure that we can collect evidence for progression. So where we have in the previous talked about, can you raise a hand if you understand, or two, or can you give 2 thumbs up, or can you write into the chat box yes, no, or score yourself? Something like this on a Mentimeter would not only make it more interactive and more engaging for people, but it would also collate your results, and it would also give you an opportunity to revisit that and show distance traveled. So how do we use this? How do we set up a slide on this? If you go to the button, so tap in Mentimeter and then go in and set up. You have to set up a free account. It takes you 2 minutes, okay? And then you have an option to add new presentation. If I was to show you an example that is already here and we have done before, okay? Why do we use CPOMs at SSG? So that would be my presentation screen. And then if I was to copy and paste this, or copy the link into the chat box, and if somebody wants to have a go now, you're more than welcome, just to demonstrate that. Okay, the question around why do we use CPOMs at SSG, and what this does is it produces a word cloud. So as and when people are feeling confident to provide a word, it will then pop up onto the screen, and it will then grow or shrink depending if other people use the same word. And it is a tool for you to then be able to activate discussion, or even better, recap a previous lesson. So we're starting to talk about bridging one lesson to the other. Okay. If Emma Graham, if you could just tap in 2 words, it doesn't matter what it is, follow the link, tap in 2 words, you will just see them hopefully just pop it up onto the screen if you're there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, you're on it. Right, brilliant. No, that's fine. I just thought people would just take my word for it, he says. So from this situation, it doesn't have to be just a cloud or a word cloud and things like that. You have got various different options that will ensure that it is engaging for your candidates, and it is engaging for staff as and when you use it. Just aware of time, I'm just going to move on. So how simple is it? Well, it's as simple as putting a new presentation, adding a name, and it is there. Now all you need to do from here is then decide what you would like. Would you like it to be a multiple choice that they vote on? Would you like it to be open-end questions, a bit like what we just looked at with the Jamboard? Would you like it to be a Q&A at the end of the session that you can then feed back in? So this could be collating the questions as you talk through. So I'm thinking very much along the lines of the amazing JCP presentations and the employer presentations we do, and we always say add the questions in and we'll come to them at a certain point. Or this could be a way that they do that ongoingly, and it puts it in a much more open and presentation way. Okay, you then have the images that you can drop in, and then you've also got the way that you looks. Okay, so the answers that come in, are you wanting them to type, are you wanting to select, and then you save. You can import pictures into this, themes and settings. It is as simple as just clicking buttons, customizing what you would like, adding formats. It's a really interactive and I think a really good way to engage people within collecting information. Okay, so finally, so it just gives you an example of how you can use QR codes as well, just to push forward with that. is Teams. So Teams have got two good features that I've noticed recently through other people using it. Okay, especially around virtual delivery. Apologies if you know this, but it's just re-emphasizing that it's not always about having to go away and learn new things and get used to them. Although they're simple, they do need time and focus for you to get used to. Whereas Teams is something that we are financially and physically investing in. So therefore, I would always want you to look at what is available and how can we use that now. The two things are very simple. One's the whiteboard and the second are the breakout rooms. Okay, so if I come out of this, drag this across. Okay, so up in the top box here, hopefully you can all see, if you're not aware, you have got a multitude of tools that are inside. Okay, and one of them is a breakout room. If you select that, you are able to pre-plan, or you're able to have it done automatically. Okay, you're able to select how many rooms you actually want. So that is how many tables of people or how many small groups. All right, so if we have 10 people, we may decide to put people into 2 groups of 5. Okay, if you automatically assign them, it's random. Okay, if you manually want to assign them, you need to create the room, and then it will start to give you the option here around who do you want to place into which room. Okay, so if I place Charlie Clark into there, 19 selections, sorry, if I was to go into, so if I was to say room 1 and to place Charlie Clark into room 1 with Emma Graham, for example, okay, and then assign, those people then would be instantly taken to the room, okay, when you click that button. You may decide that actually you want to set a time frame around it. Okay, so this room might be set up and used at a later date. So dialing in a little bit earlier, making sure you know who is going to be in that room, and you're going to assign people to them. Once you open a room, okay, which is here because there's nobody assigned to it, which is why it won't open. It stays closed until you open that room. This button also allows you as the presenter to visit each of those breakout rooms. So if you're thinking, oh, well, my candidates would go there and then they'd nip away and make a cup of tea and they wouldn't do anything. Well, you're able to then join that room, dib in and then leave it again. So you might give them a reminder, you might give them some support with a presentation or task that they're already doing. Okay. Finally, just to identify there it is, it's in here. So you have to stop sharing the your presentation, your screen, to be able to then go in and access into this area the whiteboard. So you would click the Microsoft Link whiteboard there, and that opens an app within Teams. So hopefully you're seeing this as it's loading. And from here, I know that Priska has used this kind of system before with her learners. Okay, you can select very similar to what we have looked at with Mentimeter and with Jamboard as well. So we can add notes into this system. We can write on there. It may be that we want to add an image from our saved images to inspire a conversation. We can draw, and we could then highlight what we're talking about if people were giving information and giving post-it notes. And likewise, we can upload documents here, which I'm not going to do right now, but you can upload a document and discuss that, which would then potentially allow you to mark and to identify. So if we were looking at a piece of literature for functional skills English, as an example, we may present that poem, and then we may ask people to highlight areas as we all read it. I may identify key points of that. Okay, any questions? Now, in order for you to exit this whiteboard, you just go to stop presenting and it should kick you back. So hopefully that has either been new for you, informative for you, a reminder, a refresher, or even inspiring for you to actually go away over the next couple of days, even when you have a few minutes spare time, and have a look at what could you do, how could you adapt what you're doing to make it slightly more interactive, slightly more engaging maybe to your audience. But not only that, guys, but once you've done it once, you can save that resource. And if it's an accurate resource, you just tweak it for the next group. And again, we want people to be efficient. We want people to be a high standard of resource without it actually causing you more work. Are there any questions?
Just a quick one. You know, with regards to the breakout rooms,
Yes.
so does that mean that you don't have to send alternative links to Teams meeting, that it will automatically come from this meeting?
So what will happen, yeah, you will go into the meeting, and then once you are in, you do an introduction, Jodie, and then it will come up at the top of the screen like the recording does and says you are being allocated to a break room 2 in 10 seconds, and then it will automatically kick you to that room. Okay.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah. And then you have the option to put a timer on that room. So you want people to be in there for 10 minutes, and then it tells them you've got 10 seconds. You're going back to the main presentation, and it kicks everybody out at the same time.
Oh, that's fantastic. Great tool.
Thank you. Or you can close it. Yeah, it's really good. What I'm not an expert at these kind of things, but I do know that the more you use these, the more you are brave, the more you feel that you've got confidence to trial these things at the right time for the right reasons. Yeah, for quality, in particular, Jen and myself and Steve, we like people doing this kind of stuff, having a go, making that step forward, because once you've done it once or twice, you'll get the engagement. Is there any more questions, guys? No? Okay. Right. Well, I'm just going to stop recording there.